I love making bread. It brings so much joy. I'm so happy for you.
The smell of fresh bread filled the air that morning. People came from far and near, carrying coins, baskets, and even empty plates. But no one could forget the truth. The hands kneading the dough now were once the hands they ignored, mocked, and left without education. And now, she was the one feeding them all. The cock crowed at dawn in the small village of Riverbend. Mary, only 7 years old, woke up with hope in her eyes. It was the first day of school. She had ironed her dress the night before and placed her tiny sandals by her bed. But when she walked into the kitchen, her parents were whispering. She could hear her uncle's voice, sharp like a knife. "Do not waste money sending a girl to school. She will marry and leave," he said. Mary's heart sank. Her brothers, James and Peter, were dressed in new uniforms, their bags swinging proudly on their backs. Her mother looked at Mary and said softly, "You will stay at home and help with chores." She tried to be brave, but as she watched her brothers walk away, the dust from their steps felt like it landed in her heart. From that day, Mary's classroom became the market, the riverbank, and the kitchen. But inside her, a quiet fire began to burn. While her brothers learned from books, Mary learned from people. She helped her mother sell oranges in the noisy village market. She learned to count coins faster than the eye could see. She noticed what made customers happy, what made them come back, and what made them tell others. The market became her school. She learned how to smile at strangers, how to listen more than she spoke, and how to see opportunities where others saw nothing. It was there she met old Mama Grace, the village baker. Her bread was famous, soft, warm, and sweet. Mama Grace always called Mary over to help. "Child, come and learn something useful. Flour will never betray you," she would say. Mary did not know it yet, but those afternoons in Mama Grace's bakery were the seeds of her future. One rainy evening, Mama Grace gave Mary a small bag of flour and said, "Try to bake at home." Mary followed every step she had learned, mixing, kneading, and waiting for the dough to rise. When the bread came out of the firewood oven, its smell filled the entire compound. Her brothers teased her at first, until they tasted it. "This is better than Mama Grace's bread," James said, surprised. Mary smiled, but kept her talent quiet. In a village where people only believed in school certificates, a girl's skill with flour did not seem important. But life had other plans. The dry wind came early that year. The river became small. Farms turned brown. Work grew slow. Money stopped coming. One night, Mary's father coughed and lay weak on a mat. The house felt quiet and worried. Mary looked at the roof and prayed in a soft voice. Her brothers, James and Peter, had finished school, but they had no jobs yet. They tried. They knocked on doors. They waited in long lines. Each day they came home with tired faces. Mary hugged them and smiled. She did not blame them. She just thought. She thought like the market taught her. She looked for what people still needed when times were hard. People still needed food and hope. Mary went to Mama Grace. "Teach me one more time," she said. Mama Grace smiled and held Mary's hands. "Child, bread is a simple song, but you must sing it with care." They mixed flour. They added water, yeast, salt, and love. They waited for the dough to rise. The smell filled the room like a warm hug. Mary took a small bag of flour home. Very early the next morning, before the cock crowed, she lit the fire. She baked 10 loaves. She wrapped them in clean cloth. She carried them to the village market in a big basket. She stood by a corner. She called out in a gentle voice, "Fresh bread. Warm bread." A woman bought one. Then another woman bought one. 5 were gone in a short period of time. Soon, all were gone. Mary looked at the empty basket. She felt a small light in her heart. She went home, counted the coins, and paid for rice and soap. That night, her family ate well. Her father smiled. "Thank you, my daughter," he whispered. Mary did not sleep long. She woke again before dawn. She baked again. The smell of bread began to follow her like a friend. The next week, people came early. They stood with coins in their hands. They smiled and waited. "This bread is soft," they said. "It tastes like clouds and honey." Mothers bought for their children. Boys on bicycles bought for a long ride. The talking drum from the next street sounded happy. The news was moving. But the market also has whispers. A man at a stall said, "She did not go to school. How can she run a business?" Another person laughed, "She will stop when the dry season ends." Mary heard. Her ears felt hot. Her chest felt tight. But she kept her face calm. She counted change. She thanked customers. She cleaned her table. That evening, Mama Grace called her baker girl. She gave Mary a small wooden stamp with a sunrise shape. "Press this on your paper wraps," she said. "Let people know it is yours." Mary loved it. She wrote a name in her mind. Sunrise Loaves. She began to wrap each bread in white paper with the sunrise mark. The mark looked bright and new. It felt like a promise. Soon, shop owners asked, "Can you bring 10 loaves each morning?" Schools asked, "Can you bring small rolls by noon?" Mary borrowed a handcart from Mr. Brown, the carpenter. She pushed the cart herself at first. James and Peter saw her sweat and came to help. "Let us push," they said. "You bake. We deliver." Mary looked at them and smiled with wet eyes. The family felt like a strong rope again. At night, when the moon was big, Mary told herself a small legend. "When people shut the school gate, the market gate opened for me." It made her brave. It made her walk taller the next day. Orders grew fast. The small firewood oven became too slow. Mary counted her savings. She could buy a bigger oven. But if the plan failed, she would lose everything. She sat with Mama Grace on a wooden stool. The old woman spoke in a warm voice. "Child, courage is not loud. Courage is steady." Mary bought the oven. The day it arrived, neighbors stood and stared. Some clapped. Some shook their heads. "No certificate," someone said. "Big dream," another said. Mary thanked them all and kept working. She cleaned the small shop. She painted the door white. She wrote sunrise loaves, fresh, warm, kind above the door. She set rules: wash hands, clean tools, kind words only. She taught James and Peter to measure. She taught them to smile with their eyes. A young boy named Kenny came asking for work. He had quick feet and a bright grin. Mary hired him to deliver bread with the cart. "Speak gently," she told him. "People remember kind voices." Soon a tiny bell rang above the shop door all day long. The smell of bread flowed into the street like a song. Children pressed their noses to the glass. Mothers laughed. Men stopped their bicycles again. Mary tried new things: coconut bread on Fridays, fruit buns on Saturdays, small honey rolls for school break time. She wrote each day's plan on a chalkboard. She made a savings jar for the shop. She made another jar to help a child who could not pay for lunch. The shop became more than a shop. It felt like a safe place. People came not only for bread but for peace. They told stories. They shared jokes. They waited under the shade while the bell rang and rang. One stormy night, the sky roared. Rain slammed the roof. A loud pop came from the new oven. The light went off. The room went dark. The dough was ready, but the oven was dead. Mary stood still. She could almost hear the whispers again. "She will fail." James ran for Mr. Brown. Peter held the door. Kenny covered the flour bags. Mary prayed in a small voice, "Please, help me keep my promise." Mr. Brown came with tools. The rain slowed. He checked wires. He shook his head. "It needs a part," he said. The part would take 3 days. 3 days with no baking would hurt. Orders would be late. Customers would turn away. Mary's eyes fell on the old clay oven at the back, the one she used before. It was small. It was slow. But it still worked. She cleaned it fast. She lit the fire. She and Mama Grace baked through the night in small batches. The loaves came out one by one. At dawn, Kenny pushed the cart. James and Peter carried trays. Bread reached the shops, a little later than usual, but still warm. People smiled when they heard the story. "You did not give up," they said. "We will not give up on you." By the 3rd day, the big oven was fixed. Mary thanked Mr. Brown with extra bread for his family. She thanked the old clay oven for holding the line. She learned this lesson deep in her heart. When a big door shuts, a small door can still open. Keep moving. Keep baking. A hard week came. Food was scarce in many homes. Prices rose in the market. Pots were empty in the evening. The talking drum sounded slow at night. Mary looked at the jar she kept for helping children. It was half full. She looked at her flour. She looked at her team. "We will feed the village," she said. "We will bake simple loaves. Small, but enough." James nodded. Peter nodded. Kenny nodded fast. Mama Grace put her hand on Mary's shoulder. "Kindness is bread for the soul," she said. They baked from morning to night. They gave one small loaf to each family who came with an empty plate. The line was long. People stood quiet. Some cried. Some prayed. The shop bell kept ringing. Mary did not count profit that week. She counted smiles. She watched tired faces become soft. She watched children hold warm bread like treasure. She slept little. She woke early. She kept going. On the last day of that week, Elder John, the village elder, came with a small group. They carried a talking drum and a calabash of clean water. They stood outside the shop and spoke a blessing. "You kept our street alive," Elder John said. "This story will be told in many homes. It will become a legend for our children." Mary felt shy. She wiped her hands on her apron. She whispered, "Thank you." Inside her, she remembered the day she was told to stay home from school. The sadness did not hurt in the same way anymore. It felt like a seed that had grown into a tree with shade for many. The village festival came with drums, dancers, and bright cloth. Stalls were clean. The air smelled of pepper soup and sweet buns. A stage stood in the square. Children ran with tiny flags. Mary did not plan to go on stage. She was busy serving free slices to children. But Elder John called her name. The crowd turned. The drum rolled. Mary walked up slowly. Her family stood in front. Mama Grace stood with them, smiling like the sun. Chief David placed a ribbon with a small gold medal around Mary's neck. "You showed us that learning can come from many roads," he said. "You turned pain into bread. You turned a closed door into a wide table." The crowd clapped. Some shouted, "Sunrise loaves!" The bell at her shop door echoed in Mary's mind. Then a surprise. Chief David announced a fund to help village girls learn skills and also go to school. "We will call it the Sunrise Fund," he said. "Mary will guide it." Mary's eyes filled. She thought of 7-year-old Mary in the small kitchen, holding a broom instead of a book. She held the medal and spoke slowly, so even a small child could understand. When the world says no, you can still say yes to yourself. Keep your hands clean. Keep your heart kind. Keep your word. That night, fireworks lit the sky. The story of Mary spread to nearby towns. People posted about it. Inspiring true story, they wrote. African folktale in real life, they said. The legend of sunrise loaves began to travel like light. The next month, Mary built a small reading room beside the bakery. She placed bright chairs and a shelf of simple books. She wrote on the wall, "Open door for all." Children came after school to read. Girls came on weekends to learn baking. Boys came to learn kindness and service. Mary taught them to measure flour and also to measure words. "Use soft words," she said. "They rise like good dough." She taught them to count money and also to count blessings. She taught them that skill and school can walk hand in hand like two good friends. One morning, Mary's uncle came quietly. He looked older. He held his cap with both hands. "I was wrong," he said. "I did not see your light." Mary smiled gently. "We are family," she said. "Sit. Eat." She gave him warm bread and tea. His eyes softened. James and Peter now ran delivery with smart order lists. Kenny managed a small team with a bigger cart. Mama Grace sat near the window and told stories of ovens and courage to little ones. The bell kept ringing. The street smelled like hope. A new girl stood at the door, shy and small, with big dreams in her eyes. Mary knelt to her height. "What is your name?" she asked. "My name is Joy," the girl said. "I want to learn." Mary took Joy's hand. "You will," she said. "Here, the door stays open." The sun rose over River Bend. The sign above the white door shone. "Sunrise loaves, fresh, warm, kind." The girl they refused to send to school now fed them all, bellies and hearts. And the village learned a simple lesson that felt like a song. When one girl rises, the whole street rises with her. This story teaches us to always be kind. Be brave. Learn anywhere. Help many. This is how small hands bake big change. I hope you enjoyed the story.
Until next time, this is Rietta. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe, like, share and comment below so that I will know your opinion. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you will be the first to know when the next video drops. Peace out.